Hey there, welcome back to AudioFire. My name's Peyton James, and I created the site audiofire.co to help podcast creators level up their audio. In this video, I'm going to share 5 tips that will help you with developing consistency with your content, ensuring that you stay on schedule and manage your time effectively, and help you avoid burnout when you're creating. Let's get into it. Alright, tip number 1 is creating a content list. So a content list is essentially a running list of your episode ideas and your topics. I personally like to create my content list in a spreadsheet such as Google Docs or Microsoft Excel. To create your content list, first you'll write out each topic or episode idea. Then you'll add any ideas or notes that you'd like to include in your specific episode. This way you'll remember when it comes time to make an outline for that episode. You can also add any questions that you want to answer in the episode. So maybe you've heard a common question that's asked a lot in your specific community or from audience members, or maybe there's a specific question that comes up a lot, a frequently asked question that you'd like to answer in your episode. You can also add any relevant titles or tags that you can think of on the spot, at least when you're creating your content list. That way you'll remember when it comes time to post your content. So content creators, especially those in the very beginning stages of starting a podcast, really tend to struggle with the fear of not having enough ideas to consistently talk about a certain topic week in and week out. So really just sitting down and compiling an ever-growing list of your content ideas does a lot of things that can really help you. First of all, it validates that you do indeed have plenty of ideas to create podcast episodes about. Number 2, it also helps you plan and organize any upcoming content that you have. 3, it enables you to see what you've discussed in previous episodes. And 4th, it also serves as a place to jot down your ideas as they come to you in your head, so you're consistently growing a content list. So in my opinion, one of the biggest benefits in creating a content list is that you don't have to spend a bunch of time trying to figure out what you're going to talk about the day that you're going to record. You can simply refer to your content list and decide what your next episode is going to be about, and then you can, take a look at your notes and write down any notes or outlines or comments that you want to include in your episode or questions that you want to answer in your episode. And then you have that all prepared for when you're ready to record your episode. All right, so now that you have a content list, tip number 2 is creating a content schedule. So keep this simple and don't overthink this process, but what I want you to do here is decide how often you want to put out content. So figure out a simplified schedule such as, I'm going to release a new podcast episode every Tuesday. And so once you have a good idea of how often you're going to post your content, break down everything that you need to do in order to make that happen. For example, you may need to plan 5 to 10 minutes to set up your equipment and organize your notes in your outline. You might need an hour to record your episode, or maybe it's shorter and you only need 30 minutes, whatever it is for your specific content. You might need up to 3 hours to edit your episodes, 30 minutes to upload it and put in, your title, tags, descriptions, show notes, and all that stuff. Things like that. So now that you have a list of your content topics and have an idea of the amount of time to do your tasks and stay on schedule, you're ready to start scheduling it out. All right, tip number 3 is to plan out your week in advance by results and not by tasks. So my guess is that you're already probably involved in a bunch of other things besides just creating and producing a podcast. You may have a full-time job or a full-time business schedule that you need to work around, or you may have classes that you attend or volunteer work that you do and you need to schedule around. Or maybe you have, a spouse and kids or pets to spend time with and, really take care of. So you may have plenty of other commitments throughout your weeks besides just creating content. So find some gaps in your schedule that you can fill in with time to work on your podcast. For example, you may have one day of the week that is consistently wide open for a couple of hours, or you can choose to dedicate certain days specifically for, might have a day for recording or specifically for editing, or have specified days for each part of the process of your production. So I encourage you to plan out your weeks or month if you can in advance. So just keep in mind that each task that you do is going to take as long as you give yourself. So if you give yourself a full day to get one thing done, such as recording your podcast episode, you're going to find a way to make that take up a whole day. So it may only take an hour to do the actual recording of the episode, but somehow you're going to let other little distractions get in the way, thinking that you have the full day to do it. And just trust me, it's going to take a full day if you give yourself a full day. However, if you decide to give yourself an hour to complete something, you'll get it done in an hour. You always find a way. So the more specific and detailed you can be with your scheduling, the more effective it's going to be. It'll also be easier to manage in your mind and not succumb to distractions or indecision about what you're going to do in the present moment. So if you take advantage of the planning process, just like creating your content list, creating a content schedule, and getting all of your notes and outlines organized ahead of time, it's going to be easier to get things done with a shorter time frame. So when you plan out your schedule, make sure to plan out your results, such as getting the podcast episode recorded, getting it edited, writing up the episode outline and notes, rather than tasks such as edit the podcast for 2 hours. Actually schedule the result of getting it done within your schedule. Because when you plan out the results, you'll see that you're going to get more done rather than just essentially doing a bunch of busy work for a few hours and just wasting a bunch of time in the long run. So plan and schedule based on results, not just on tasks. Tip number 4 is to be consistent by showing up, doing the work, and achieving the result. So when you have all of this planning in place ahead of time, accomplishing the things you need to do is going to be much easier and much more effective than just winging it spur of the moment, right? So this has really been a game changer for me, and it really helps me with managing my own time and my mind and developing consistency with my content production. So when the time comes for me to write outlines and notes for my next episode, or a video for that matter, I don't have to sit around for hours just trying to think about what I'm going to create content over or how to outline it. It's already in my content list, and I already have a little bit of a starting point to go off of, and I don't even really have to think about it. I just get started working on it, right? So this actually really makes my schedule super effective, rather than sitting around feeling like I know I should be doing something productive, but I don't know what it is. I already decided that ahead of time and have it scheduled out, and I can get that done. So as long as I actually show up and do the work that I have planned out, I'll consistently do all the things that I need to do to get closer to my goals, and make sure that I have published things on time, that I'm doing it consistently, and that I know I'm on the track for success that I've already planned and scheduled ahead of time. So the more specific and the more detailed you can get with creating your goals and scheduling it out, the easier it will be to plan things from your future. So this means that you're kind of working backwards from having achieved your desired result. So as long as you show up and do the work and accomplish the results, like I said, instead of just tasks, you accomplish the results when you schedule them out. Reaching your goals is going to be inevitable because you've already planned it out. So as long as you show up and do it, you're going to reach that goal you've set for yourself. All right, and finally, tip number 5 is to batch record your content. One of the biggest ways that you can really develop consistency with your uploads and avoid burning out is to batch record your content. And what I mean by batch recording is recording multiple episodes at one time. So this may be a little bit more difficult if your content is based around current events or news or things like that. Plus, you're going to need to have time within your schedule in order to make that work. But if you can do it, it's super powerful. So a lot of creators just like to tackle a batch all at once. Let's say recording 4 episodes in a day. So if you're uploading a podcast once per week, you can record those 4 episodes in a single day and then have enough content recorded for the entire month, allowing you to focus on other things throughout the month. And that's just recording, but then you can, work on editing 1 episode and have it published by the end of the week, and then do that every single week for 4 weeks. While that's really cool that you can do that, a lot of people can't make that really attainable in their schedule, especially if you have a full-time job and other commitments to prioritize. So something that's worked really well for me is to double down on episodes for each week. So for example, if I'm uploading a podcast episode once a week and I record 2 episodes each week for 4 weeks, but I only upload and publish 1 episode per week, then I'm going to have an extra 4 recorded and ready to be published. So in just 1 month, I now have 4 weeks worth of episodes that I'm publishing on time, but I also have 4 weeks worth in reserve that I can release over time as well. So for me, this is much more manageable, and although it takes more than 1 day to get that month's worth in reserve, it's really easier for me to manage with my personal schedule and gives me time to plan things out as necessary. So you may be wondering why batch recording is a thing and why it's a good idea to be ahead of schedule and already have a reserve of content. Really, it's just if for whatever reason something comes up and you're unable to record or release your podcast episodes at the time that they should be scheduled, such as, an emergency situation comes up, or you get sick, or you need to go on vacation, or you have a work thing come up, or you want to take off for a holiday or just a personal day for yourself, you can still do that without having to worry about not uploading something and missing your schedule and your audience wondering what the heck happened. It's just as though you've never skipped a beat. You already have that stuff recorded ahead of time, and then you can publish it as though you haven't taken any time off, right? So if you can find a way to get at least a couple of episodes in reserve or in the bank, so to speak, I think that you'll find it super beneficial, and that will help relieve a ton of deadline pressure to get things done last minute, and then maybe not have as high quality episodes as you'd like to have. All right, so let's recap the 5 tips for developing consistency and managing your time effectively. Number 1 is to create a list of your content ideas in a spreadsheet. Number 2, create a content schedule. Number 3, plan out your week in advance by results, not just based on tasks. Number 4 is to be consistent by showing up, doing the work, and achieving the results. And number 5 is to batch record your content to have some content in reserve. So these tips will really help you with developing consistency with your content, help you manage your time and be more efficient, and will help you avoid burnout. Not only does developing consistency make it better for you to plan and manage your time, but it also gives your audience a schedule to look forward to when you release your content. So just like tuning in to watch your favorite TV show, they'll know exactly when to look out for your new episodes. And if you have those pieces of content in reserve, then you can make sure that everything runs smoothly without any hiccups in the publishing process. All right, so that's it for this video. If you found this super helpful and valuable, be sure to give it a like. And if you'd like to learn more podcast production tips and tutorials, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also see more content at www.audiofire.co. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep making waves. Take care.